And look, I got a very good one for y'all because, if you're in the boxing world, then you know that a lot of talk been going on about Bivol versus Benavidez. Mm, mm. Now that right, that is going to be a tremendous fight if it's made happen. But we all know how the business of boxing is. And sorry to say, I got some reports from a man, Sampson. He was saying how, look, before I get into that, let's rewind selector real quick, and let's talk about how David Benavidez on fighting Better Beef or Bivol. And this was before, Bivol won the fight. And he was saying that he would pick Bivol because Bivol beat Canelo. Yeah, yeah. We remember that. He beat Canelo on the scorecards. And basically, he said when he beat Bivol, that'll make his case that he is better than Canelo. Ooh. Man. He said that Bivol's a great fighter and they had a lot of sparring sessions. Ooh, got me spinning in my chair a little bit because, look, we know how the Better Beef and Bivol two fights don't went so far. Now they're talking about it possibly being a third fight, a trilogy, if the fight with Benavidez falls through. Now they're trying all their best right now to finalize this deal, and it talks about this being a summertime fight. And I mean, for real, think about it. Bivol versus Benavidez, that's what the boxing fans want. We don't want no gimme fights. We don't want no fights that's too predictable. We don't want no fights that we don't understand why they keep throwing these fights at us. Look, Better Beef, I enjoyed those two fights. I really did. But I don't honestly believe that we will see anything different in those fights again. If we were to see a third or a trilogy fight from Benavidez, Better Beef, and Bivol. I don't see it being any different more than a chess match, going to scorecards, and somebody winning by a nod here and there. And honestly, I think that Turkey Al-Sheikh has already drawn out as much as he can get out of a Bivol versus a Better Beef. I don't know if a third fight right now would warrant it. Maybe if Better Beef went out and fought somebody on the same card with Bivol versus Benavidez, I think that, you said, hey, have you been to any Diddy party? Man, is you crazy? Off, is you crazy? I don't think nobody's going to. You know where he is right now? But anyway, Benavidez, I feel as though is the right fight for Bivol. I don't think that Bivol needs to fight anybody else. I think David Benavidez has proven himself that he is the right fight for, undisputed. Who else? Who else in the heavyweight division garners the attention that David Benavidez garners? Now, of course, a lot of people say, oh, we would love to see Morrell and David Benavidez fight again. Nah, off that little stumble off of the feet type of thing, that's about all you can leave with. But, yeah, somebody told me some, I should spar southpaw. Actually, I am southpaw. So, what's good? Rude Rage, off, what's good, y'all? But getting back to this fight here, who would y'all like to see? Would you like to see Bivol versus Better Beef again? Would y'all like to see a trilogy of that? Because Turkey Al-Sheikh is leaning on that fight. The other fight is David Benavidez. Should Bivol fight David Benavidez? Huh? Journey 7 times, very fast. I don't know. But I'm reading some of the comments. But, personally, honestly, I feel as though David Benavidez done more than enough to garner this fight with Bivol. I don't think there's nobody else in the heavyweight division or the light heavyweight division that garners the attention that Benavidez garners right now. And after his fight against David Morrell, that definitely puts him in the talk for this light heavyweight championship fight. Yeah. Off. I agree. I think Turkey Al-Sheikh definitely made boxing good again. Yeah, I don't know why people hate on him as well. I appreciate Turkey Al-Sheikh because it was a lot of boxing promoters not dealing with each other, not working with each other, not putting good fights together, hiding their fighters away from this fighter, and Turkey Al-Sheikh just blew all that up. Boom! He blew it all the way out of the water because, now fighters have another place, another destination to go to and fight just in case the promoters or their team don't want to get certain fights made. Fighters have another option. We saw Wilder go over there. We saw, so many other fighters and Shakur Stevenson even go over to Saudi and fight. So it's a lot of fighters that are taking that money, 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 money. Everybody taking that Turkey Al-Sheikh money. So, hey, I don't understand why people are hating on it. Yes, Saudi is a different place, different area as far as fighters fighting with judges and referees, but I believe that anything in time can always be worked out. They just starting out, so you got to give them a little bit of time to work out all the kinks and fix everything that need to be fixed. But also, Turkey Al-Sheikh is doing a deal with Dana White. Now that, my friend, is a very, very serious situation because they talking about putting together a tournament to where fighters will get paid out of that tournament right off the bat, whether you signed or unsigned, whatever the case may be. So, man, yeah, boy, look, I love it. I love it. I know a lot of people, oh, Turkey's done. Man, look, hey, if it was a situation where boxing didn't need to be fixed and then he came in, then I'd be like, oh, I understand why people mad and, boxing don't need nobody else. But boxing do. It's a lot of fighters that need fights. It's a lot of fighters that deserve fights. It's a lot of fighters that deserve to be paid correctly. It's a lot of fighters that deserve to have certain fights that they can't get. So with Turkey Al-Sheikh introducing himself into this sport of boxing, he blows that all up to make certain promoters and companies work with each other that normally wouldn't do it. So why are they mad at Turkey Al-Sheikh? I don't understand. People are hating on Turkey Al-Sheikh. I don't understand. I feel as though it's enough money for everybody, right? It's enough fights for everybody, right? It's definitely enough promoters for everybody. But a lot of promoters don't have that pool like Top Rank and The Zone and PBC, and Sky Sports. Those are the big names. Those are the big names. We understand that. But it's still a lot of big fights that are not getting made. And matter of fact, seeing this triple header fight that Turkey Al-Sheikh got coming up with Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, and Devin Haney on one card, never been done before. That took some serious moolah to get that fight together. You understand? It took a lot of money to get that fight together. And only one I'm seeing doing it is Turkey. Turkey Al-Sheikh. He's the only one putting together these big fights because you know what? It take money to make money. And he got money. He got plenty of money. Plenty of money. So don't hate on Turkey a la Sheik. Let him cook. Let him do what he doing, y'all. Let him do what he doing, you know? And I did get a little bit of insight on David Benavidez' manager thoughts on the Bivol versus Benavidez fight, y'all. And y'all might not like it. You might not like it. You might not like it, you know, for real, for real. Sampson, he said that Bivol versus Benavidez will never happen. Never happen unless Bivol agrees. Unless Bivol agrees to fight in America. Mm, mm, mm. He said Bivol should just drop his belt if he insists they want to fight in Saudi. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, yeah, that made me drop my head too. You know what I mean? Because I was thinking that, you know, this fight would be easy, one and done type of thing. You know, Bivol, he's the champion. He got all the belts. You know, it's not really like Benavidez has a lot of power for us to shift this fight somewhere and here and there. You know, you really got to kind of base it off of the undisputed champion majority of the time. But, you know, Sampson, that's Benavidez' manager. And, you know, he said that America wants its own blood to be fighting on its own soil. And that blood is Benavidez. We would never go to Saudi. I ain't even gonna lie. When I read that, when I heard that, you know, from Sampson, you know, I was like, come on, man. Come on, Sampson. Don't say that, man. You know, I understand. I understand. I think the fight would sell more numbers in America. I think it would do better numbers in pay-per-view in America. But don't say we would never go to Saudi. Come on, man. You know, Saudi ain't no bad place, a beautiful place, man. You know, when fighters be saying never, I just be like, I just be shaking my head like, because I don't like that never word. You know, a lot of fighters, they try and say never this and never that, and then end up doing it or end up doing something like it. And then you like, thought you said never, man. You said never. Never means never. But I understand, you know, I understand Sampson as a manager predicament, seeing some fighters go over to Saudi and not get the judge's nod and things of that nature. And, you know, they possibly looking at it like, hey, Bivol done fought over there twice. We go over there once to fight him. Who knows how the judges are going to play this? They might play right into the hands of Bivol and give him the nod when we deserve to win. And, you know, maybe, just maybe Sampson is looking at that as the manager. I'm pretty sure Benavidez as the fighter, he would say, I don't care where the fight is. You know what I mean? We don't care where the fight is. Let's get it done. You know, I had a chance to meet Benavidez, David before, and, you know, wonderful, wonderful human being, wonderful boxer, wonderful champion, inside and outside the ring. And, you know, I just feel as though him being him, he don't care. You know, he just wants the opportunity, but his manager, Sampson, is looking out for him. You know, he's looking out for David Benavidez, his father, and his camp and his team to make sure they get the best deal and the best fight. So I totally 1,000,000% get that. I do. And I'm not mad at it, but I will always say to any manager, any promoter, always leave room for negotiation. Don't ever use the word never. You know, that word never is a strong word. You know, that kind of cuts you off from a lot of future situations that you could be able to get your fighter involved in. So never say the word never again, Sampson, please. Unless you truly mean it now. You know, y'all might have to go over to Saudi to sign some paperwork. So don't say we would never go to Saudi. But I do understand it and I get it. But let's get on to the get on now. Who do y'all think will win? That is the question. Who do you think will win against a Bivol versus a David Benavidez? We already seen Bivol, fought the first time with Better Beef, and a lot of people say Bivol edged that one out. In the later rounds, he edged it out a little bit. And a lot of people say that Better Beef won the first fight. But we saw the second one. The second one, Bivol definitely won easily. Just by outworking, outpointing, outscoring, the cleaner shots. Better Beef is more of a come-to type fighter with no head movement. So it was a lot to be scored there. Now, David Benavidez, on the other hand, everybody know around the world, he's going to come into that ring throwing punches in bunches. And will Bivol be able to, fight that type of fight? Will he be able to give, a high number of punch stats against David Benavidez? Because that's what he's going to be going up against. He's going to be going up against somebody that will make sure that he will have to fight a serious, fast-paced fight. And that's what you're looking at if you see in Bivol versus Benavidez. Real talk. Benavidez is going to make sure that this fight go very fast, very high pace, and it's going to be a bunch of punches thrown. Can Bivol hang with that? Have Bivol been shown too much by Better Beef in that slow pace chess match? When you fight a Benavidez, it's going to be a boxing Mexican style slug match. And the bigger the fighter is, the bigger the punches, the harder the punches are going to be. So I think that is going to make for an amazing fight. And I'm pretty sure everybody else is. I'm pretty sure PBC is going to look to do this fight, Prime Video, with Turkey Al Sheik, with Bivol this summer, right in America. It should be in Vegas. It should be in the biggest place where the biggest numbers get made. We shall see. I'm going to stay tuned to all of it. I'm going to keep y'all up to date on what progresses with this fight. When is the finalization of this fight? Because they're saying that it's, on the verge of being finalized now. The deal is being done. Fighters are talking. The managers are ironing out all the issues. But with Sampson saying that, not being in Saudi, is that a good move or a bad move? What do y'all think? Do you think Sampson should have said that? Do you think he should have just kept his mouth shut and let everything work itself out? Or do you think he was right by saying never go over to Saudi to fight Bivol and the fight should be in America? What do y'all think? Do you think this fight should be in America? Do you think it really matters? Does it make a difference? Will it do more numbers in America or will it do more numbers in Saudi Arabia? Those are my three questions, that I want to know from my fans, my family, my viewers. Let me know what y'all think. Who y'all think are going to win this fight? Is it going to be Bivol or Benavidez? Do you think Bivol has more experience or do you think Benavidez has the output to put Bivol out? That's a serious question. That's a serious question we all need to answer. And do you think it matters that Bivol goes to Saudi or fight in America? And last question, should Bivol even fight Benavidez? Should he go for a Better Beef 3 trilogy? I know what my choice is. My choice would see the Benavidez versus Bivol. But anyway, with that being said, that's all I got for this video. You already know the routine. When you leave my house, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, smash the bell icon so you can be notified the next time I drop these next latest and greatest videos here on Primetime Talk TV. And I'm on social media everywhere. And definitely go to the website, primetimetalktv.com, and copy some merch. And definitely check out that Masachi. my new sponsor. So anyway, all right, y'all. Peace, love. Out till next time. Peace.